All right, well, we're excited for this portion of the podcast. Certainly, the legend himself, the GOAT, AC Fresh, Alex Caruso. Thank you for spending some time with us, Alex, and especially considering you just went down and got some treatment, and yet here you are spending time, man. How you feeling?
Well, if I'm going to be here, might as well spend some time hanging out and talking.
No question about it. Aaron, where should we start with AC Fresh here? You and I have spent some time building.
We have. So I kind of want to get this out of the way. Obviously, everybody knows you're the GOAT. And they know about your journey. You guys have actually talked about your journey a lot.
LeBron confirmed it. That's when we
absolutely,
did,
absolutely.
On Instagram
okay, gotcha.
and other social media.
You don't get many better recommendations.
Regardless of what I say, it's confirmed.
Yeah.
But through all that, like the fame that's generated, did that ever kind of bother you? Obviously, you Lakers Nation behind you, but did it ever bother you? Like, let's get away from all of that. I'm not a sideshow. Like, I can actually hoop.
Yeah, for sure. There was moments, and not as much in the beginning, just because I was obviously still just like, and by beginning, I mean beginning of like this season, because that's when I think it really, really picked up to where people started to try and like label me as that and like really hyped it up. I was really just excited to finally play and like be a part of like the NBA roster and contribute to a team for 82 games and like all that's going on, and I'm obviously. Anybody who knows me, y'all know I'm pretty low-key, low-maintenance. Like, that stuff doesn't really bother me. But, yeah, I did get to a point to where I was just sitting back, and it's like literally anything I did, somebody would, like, tweet about it or somebody was reporting on it, and I was just – at a certain point, I was like, this is just, like – it's borderline annoying. It's, like, to the point to where it's, like, it was just focused on basketball and like, we're having so much success on the court. I would love for it to just be more about that than me doing a random play in a game.
Yeah, I mean, the irony behind all of it, too, is I think the reason that and part of this has to do with sort of stereotypes of what it's like in Hollywood, L.A., Lakers. So I think what the Laker fans especially appreciate about you is the grit and just the energy. So yes, all of the other stuff that goes along with that, the occasional highlight play, right, the dunks here and there, but it's the scrappiness. I mean, I think there's a lot more of that in Los Angeles than people sometimes realize.
Yeah, for sure.
And one way to put it is, yes, there are, movies are made, but all of the people that are waking up at 5 a.m. to prep the set. Yeah. And like, that's what most of LA is. It's a massive city. And so there seems to be some of that I think that you've tapped into as opposed to just like some sideshow thing.
And it's not as much Lakers fans. It's more like the outside world, like people in LA, or Lakers fans in general. They've seen me kind of grow over the last couple of years, and they've kind of got accustomed to like me doing this. They got little spurts of it here or there when I was on two-way the first year, and then that one game at the end of the year against the Clippers played really well, and then last year same kind of thing, got thrown in, played a little better, and it was a lot of what you said. It was just the energy, it was the little things that I do that kind of go unnoticed, and then end of the year have a great game, and that's when everybody outside of Lakers fans started to kind of notice. It was like, oh, wow, this is. Like, this guy can do some things, but West Coast games, late night, people on the East Coast, they don't see our actual games. They just see what everybody puts out on social media, the clips, the highlights or whatever, or the tweet about this random white guy that's very unassuming looking that plays for the Lakers that they all think is just like, it's just hype and it's just because he plays in LA with Bron or in the lights. So, it's not Lakers fans, it's mainly like outside of, the realm of Laker Nation. So
one thing that built into that too was like the All-Star voting and same thing. So from the outside, that built that up. But fortunately, we have the antidote, and that's been essentially the production in the net ratings and the stats.
So the two-man group.
So like that's immediately whenever somebody would say, "Oh, I've heard so much about Caruso," it's like, well, yeah, but have you seen his two-man grouping with LeBron?
Right, the dude can play.
Have you seen like why is he on the floor closing games? So that's fortunately, I think, at least to Aaron league-wide now.
Yeah,
you hear other teams now talking about Caruso, so like at least that part has kind of surpassed the hype with sort of the evidence.
Yes, agree. Because I mean, I'm gonna talk about him like he's not sitting here, but the dude can play.
It was such a small sample size, right, from the two-way and even beginning of the year. I mean, that was. I think I don't even know if I've eclipsed 100 games yet. NBA games.
I think you finally passed you hadn't passed a full 82 game season. Noah
was
in
a
the
couple
background
weeks
can
ago.
look that
I
up
don't know.
while
Okay.
we're talking about it. But I think you're probably at least
But
approaching it.
even that, right? Like, I mean, people really didn't know if there was a big enough sample size of games to even go off of, or if it was just a little like quick peak and then get back down to reality kind of thing.
107 is now the game.
107,
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
117.
117.
117.
Oh,
Oh,
okay, yeah.
100.
that's
yeah,
why.
that's
Yeah.
a season and a half.
There's 100 games.
Oh,
You're good.
That's why the hamstring is sore.
What is
Okay.
100 games?
Before I forget this, just to do our due diligence, you did come in for treatment. We know you missed the last game with some tightness. Just give us the update on how you're feeling.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. Just wear and tear of the season. You know, that kind of goes. And I mean, the way I play, you know, that's going to happen. I'm on the floor a lot, regardless of what the score is or who we're playing. So there's going to be some nicks and bumps, but just doing our due diligence and sat out the last game just because it's better to be safe in the long run. You know, precaution over heart, and sometimes you gotta listen to the people that know what they're talking about and take a night off.
You got the air quotes up for the night off.
Yeah, a night off. You know, I still wear the headband in the locker room, though.
Okay,
so.
good. Well, so I was going to ask something else, but I guess we got to get into that now because you brought it up. Or is JaVale Pierre? Is he still responsible for all of your style, the style consultant? You got the swag shorts on. So
I mean, I'll take credit for. I mean, they gave us these anyway, so these are just great shorts in general. But yeah, JaVale. Let me give a quick shout out to JaVale, just for being a great teammate. He sits next to me in our locker room, and then obviously me and him have played together last 2 years, right? Yeah. And especially late in the year when a bunch of people are shut down, like me, him, KCP, we have a unique bond just because we've gone through those dog days of teams out of the playoffs. We got to just go out there and prove your worth and keep competing. But yeah, JaVale's been a great teammate, great guy. In general, he's always got great energy. But for me, he's helped me try and fit into my my LA lifestyle a little better than I'm accustomed to.
True or false? The headband has special powers.
I think it's true. You know, I don't want to speculate, and I also don't want to give away the secret. But the ones we have for sure have special powers.
Well, so Golden State game. And you had I think it was the Golden State game. Yeah, you had gotten Charlie Horst.
Oh, yeah.
Or no, it was the Memphis
it was Golden
game.
State. It was
but
Golden State.
Okay, you got hit Golden State. And so you're coming down the court. That's right. And I see JaVale rise, like from my particular perspective on it. So he's on the bench anticipating the next Caruso, like one-handed hammer dunk.
Sure.
And you slowed up and kind of waited for a defender to come, like you were waiting to draw the contact.
Yeah.
And so I asked you about it after the game, but I wondered if you ever connected with JaVale on that, because he looked like essentially a father who was like
the proud father.
He was getting ready, and I didn't deliver.
If he had his phone on the bench, you would have gotten the Instagram story ready.
It's unfortunate.
No orange slices for you after the game.
So what happened there?
Obviously, I left leg coming around the screen, just caught one right between the IT band and the quad. And you know, everybody who's played any type of sport before knows how painful that can be. So that was already kind of nagging me, and then I was already a little tired playing through the game. My steps weren't right, so it was a bunch of things that they were X's instead of check marks on the boxes. So I kind of just saw the writing on the wall, and I was like, all right, let me just go ahead and get some contact here, go to the free throw line. And maybe I should have, because I think I missed both the free throws, so maybe I should have just tried to dunk it regardless. But
So favorite dunk. Mine is the tip dunk over KD last year. You can talk me out of that one?
ooh.
Okay, hold on.
The free throw, the tip dunk on the free throw this year was...
I'll give you a couple other candidates. So there was the baseline in Denver. The tip dunk at Denver.
That one was dope.
PJ Tucker last year.
Yeah, the PJ
That was my
Tucker.
first ever. Might be my first ever dunk in the league. That was my first game ever, maybe.
Yeah,
First
that was
call
early
up.
in the season against Houston and the call up. You had
ago? Yeah.
2 years ago. You had the Maxi Kleber one early
in
this
Dallas,
year.
That was a good one.
That was a good one. Yep. So
That was a good one. That was a good one because I overstrided on it too. Like it was kind of like a skip into it, and I never usually when I dunk I have to get the launch pad ready, get my steps and just doo. But that one was boom boom, and then I went up. I surprised myself.
Jump
I
almost.
surprised myself
all right.
a little bit on that
You're
one.
starting to talk me out of the tip over KD last year.
But I don't know because that one, oh man, that's tough. To be honest, I have a random one that I'm gonna throw in there too. The reverse one against the Knicks.
Oh, yeah.
I've never
that was
thrown
nice
down
one.
a reverse like that. in high school and college. That's tough.
Well, this is a good
Yeah,
problem.
it's a good problem. It's a working list. You'll have more. It's a working list.
Not many
problem.
people have this issue, so I'm guessing this is a good thing.
It's a good problem.
I might go. I think it's probably a tie between the Denver one and the Warriors one.
Okay.
Just because I think they were both really surprising and both pretty extraordinary at the same time.
Let me switch from dunks to blocks. And before this, we were tipped off.
Oh yeah.
By an insider. That the first time
An
that
insider.
the first time that you Noah, shout out to Noah.
Yeah.
The first time that you really caught the eye of the South Bay Lakers, or so I was told, there was a play, and Aaron is going to show it to you right now, so you can kind of look at it while we're talking, and I will describe the play as you're watching it. Now, to set the scene, this was your first year in the G League. Yeah. You're with the OKC Blue. You had gone undrafted, and you had played in Summer League. And then
he kicked the ball right there. Nobody knows that. That was what I was so upset about after the play.
Yeah. So basically, so now that you put mic up.
I got up on that.
So now that you've seen the play, describe it to people what was happening, and maybe when we do the video segment, we can roll the video over on it.
If I believe to be correct, I think that was after the regular season, right? Because the records
it was a playoff.
Yeah,
it was the first.
Because the records on there added up to 50, so it was a playoff game.
You guys are up one with about a minute left.
We're up one with about a minute left, and I'm bringing it across against Phil Pressey, and I go to crossover, probably a little too high of a crossover anyway. He does the old foot-hand reach to just cut off everything, hits his foot, and just bounces there. And for like a half second, I'm about to complain, but he's already like getting the ball and taking off the other way. And I'm like, well, just like kicks in. All right, here we go. And I mean, it's just competitive vibes take over, and he's going up for a layup. And I just, like I said, the launch pad, and went up and blocked the you know what out of it.
Yeah. That was a violent block, and then you went back to the ref again.
Yeah, and then I was complaining to the ref because he kicked the ball.
I mean, to be fair, you're correct.
I mean,
you're not a big whiner though. Like, so this was it's like, dude, he kicked the ball
I've
right
grown
in front
into
of
that though. I used to complain a lot when I was younger. Like in high school, I used to complain a lot. I used to talk smack a lot too in high school, and in college a little bit, and I weaned out of that and complained to the refs. But I normally don't, So when I went back and you could see me complain with good reason.
Well, so Aaron and I played at a very much lower level of college athletics than you did, and I remember when I first got to college, I complained. My first game, I started yelling at the ref, and this was in the 60th minute, and it was really just kind of an ego thing. Like I was not playing well, and I had made a mistake.
That's usually how it goes,
right?
Too.
Yeah, and so the ref turns over and says, "You're not good enough to complain."
Oh,
and I was like, "All right." Ran the other direction.
See,
that shut me up.
You
were good enough to complain, but
no, but that's the thing. Officials shouldn't. That's my bugaboo with officials. Is officials have egos. When officials have egos, that's when I get upset because the officials are there to facilitate the game.
That's true too, but in this case, I thought it was fair because I was whining and I didn't really have a good argument. I think I was just kind of whining because I was adjusting to the level or something.
Then that's, I mean,
it's different.
It's a two-way street, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
depends who you are, I guess, and what you're.
We're learning so much about you, True.
Yeah. I got better after that. Slightly.
So we started talking about it with the swag with JaVale, but you're developing some gear. Tell us about it. You have some.
Oh yeah, the Caruso gear.
Yeah,
I want to know all about this. How does it happen? Where is it manufactured?
Company
who designs it?
Company called Represent, and we partnered up, and they did all the heavy lifting with it. I did a couple of pictures and videos with them just to get some promo stuff. But it's basically just, I mean, there was so much demand and attention. After the beginning of the season, once people actually realized, like, okay, this guy's like kind of for real, like he can play. And there was so much love from Lakers fans that I kind of was just like, all right, you gotta do something to kind of like connect me and the fans to more than just an Instagram following or a Twitter shout out or like every now and then. So decided to put some merch out, and it's a basic T-shirt. They came up with the logo. We kind of collectively came up with the name that I don't know who came up with Caruso initially. Whoever came up with that, thank you. I'm I'm sure there's some royalties in there eventually done, but it is my name, so we're not going to talk about it.
By the way, we'll find out about it. Yeah, we'll find out. I'm sure. I'm sure after this we'll find out.
That happened, and it's been great response. We had the first window open for a while, and then just opened it up again for people that want to go check it out.
Let's get into the team a little bit if we can, Alex. And so you've been around teams your whole life, obviously. This is in terms of NBA teams, though, you're more new than the rest of your teammates. Like obviously the guys like LeBron in year 17. But I wonder what stands out the most. On the outside, it looks like everything's harmonious. You guys all go out together all the time. It's if one person goes, everybody else goes. Yeah. It's been a collective message. Everybody says that. What sometimes people will ask me, hey, who's tight within the group? And I'm like, I can't really
everybody,
isolate.
Right? Everybody,
like there aren't cliques. Honestly, there aren't really that many cliques.
There isn't, and that's. I mean, for me, this is like you said, my first year actually being on the team full time. We have so many veterans on the team that have said, like, this doesn't happen all the time. Like, this isn't normal. Even the fact that guys just get along. And I don't really know what to attest it to other than everybody's just kind of in the same mindset of like wanting to win. And I think Dwight's probably the biggest representation of that as far as just like shedding ego, shedding outside agenda, and everybody just kind of accepts who everybody is for who they are. And it makes it really easy day by day we spend so much time together, right? Like, off days are pretty much the only days we don't see each other. Every other day of the week, we see each other. So maybe like 2 or 3 days out of the month, we don't see each other. So with that kind of interaction, you have to have positive vibes and interactions, and just be able to be around people. There's so many negative emotions and stuff that go around in the world nowadays, that to be able to have a group of people, especially a group of men that work together, and even when there's trouble and tribulation, right? Like there's hard times in the season. Like everything's not sunshine and rainbows, whatever that Rocky quote is. There's definitely times where our character's tested, and I mean every time we pass the test.
So how much True and I talk about it, about kind of as the playoffs are upcoming, kind of drilling down on a rotation and roles, and your role has moved around a little bit during the year. How important to you personally is it to kind of feel out what that's going to be for the rest of the year and then in the playoffs?
I don't know if there's an importance to it. I think at the end of the day, the importance for me is that I'm just competitive. I want to be on the court. I want to play. I want to do that. I mean, everybody does, right? Like, y'all know, anybody who's played any sport, they don't want to just be on the team and like, this is fun, let's go team. Like, you want to be out there in the middle of everything, getting your hands dirty, like being a part of the team. So for me, that's kind of my main focus the whole year. It's not always about starting the game or playing the most minutes, but in crunch time, you want to be out there. And I think that's what I'm trying to prepare myself for, is if I get the opportunity to be one of the guys on the court at the end of the games, of important games that matter, that I'm ready to go. And I think I've been building towards that. And we've seen times this year I've been the guy to finish the games. And that's kind of just the versatility of our team, is that you're not really sure, other than obviously AD and Bron, who those other three guys are going to be. I'm sure we'll dwindle that down, in certain playoff matchups will dictate who's out there and what we do. But for me, the importance is just being ready.
The way that you put it right there, I think, is key. So on this podcast, Aaron and I have spent a lot of time this year trying to figure out, hey, what's the optimal rotation? What's the best 5-man closing group? But to me, this goes hand in hand with the chemistry that you talked about. So if you have LeBron and AD, who are so clearly, right, the two guys at the top, nobody
snake for sure.
Yeah, like nobody's going to argue that. It's obvious. It's easy on both ends of the floor. And then you have a number of guys that can fill in around that, depending on what the opponent is doing or depending on who's hot. And since guys have been tested in different ways to go in, to me, it doesn't seem like it's as much of a stressor as it is if, let's say, there was a guy that was always getting crunch time minutes that, maybe somebody behind him felt like he was better than, which is a natural function, regardless of how much you love your teammates, right?
And that goes back to the point where we talked about the chemistry of the team and how unique it is that there's not cliques and there's not really egos to where guys are like, that guy shouldn't be on the court over me because I am who I am or I do what I do. It's been about winning and it's been about producing at the time, and obviously nobody likes not playing, right? Like even the games I don't play at the end of the game, I'm like, man, I wish I could play at the end of the game, but it's not to the point with this team to where it's like that's detrimental to our team.
Right.
It's not as much of a ego hit as it is just guys being competitive and wanting to be out there and contribute.
I want to get back to the locker room culture if we could for a second, and just maybe there are some stories or anecdotes that just what guys are like, what LeBron specifically has been like with the team, because he's the guy, of course, we're going to hear the most about, but maybe some of the other guys that step up, like what's a snapshot for people of what it's like when you guys get behind closed doors?
As far as like what? As far as like how we just like on a daily basis, like how we
day to day, like the play in the locker room, pregame, postgame, all that stuff.
We're adults and more mature than this, but like we're like a high school team. Like we're cutting up. Anybody can like we'll find certain tweets that are making fun of somebody or that's doing something and send them in the group chat. Like we're really just like a bunch of kids that are adults. Everybody's goofy, and that kind of just helps the camaraderie of our team, right? Everybody can take a joke, everybody makes the jokes, and that's just kind of how it flows. And I think that's part of the reason we get along so well is that everybody's not afraid to like communicate with each other and say something about somebody and worry about how they'll respond.
Who takes the most incoming?
I think it's hit or miss. It's really just. It's on a daily basis. Somebody does something that we're just like, what is going on? But I mean, you obviously know who like the biggest jokesters on the team. Like Dwight and Bron their personalities are just like that. They're entertainers as far as basketball, but also people. They just love making people laugh and being around others.
So I'm trying to think. Some of the obvious ones we might see are, if Kuz has a certain outfit on,
or his hair,
or his hair, or whatever.
They don't take it easy. Kuz and DG get the most heat for their outfits from the older guys for sure.
Yeah, Danny was catching some heat from LeBron in the locker room the other day. I can't remember what he was referring to. It was something about a golf swing or something, or what?
I didn't hear the one the other day, but those two have the most. They have the widest variety of taste when it comes to clothes.
It's a nice way to put it.
For whatever it's worth, I mean, whatever you feel comfortable in, do you.
I agree, of course.
I'm a sandals, shorts, and sweatshirt kind of guy. That's my mantra. But for them, they're a little more outgoing. So they put themselves up there. They have a little bigger target.
Anybody that doesn't catch much heat for whatever reason. Either scared of, or not scared of is the wrong way to put it, but like
I honestly don't think there's anybody that catches the least amount of heat, because everybody at some point this year has been made fun of to some extent, and that's
good
in a good way, obviously. Yeah. But I mean that's just kind of how it goes. There's no off limits within the team.
How about in the film room? Because we've heard that Frank Vogel's good in the film room. You guys spend a lot of time, obviously, in there. You have a lot of vets who know how to break things down. How much of that is business and like that's a misrotation, not cool, and how much of it is there some levity sometimes to it when you guys are able to, that's my bad. Clearly, I did this. How does the film room go?
Yeah, those are always fun moments. One, because you kind of know it's going to be there, but then also Frank's done a good job of finding them. Or I don't know if Frank's found them, but he's obviously the one who presents them whenever funny moments happen. And obviously we're winning a lot, so it's easier to get those funny moments in the film sessions when you're winning games, and when you're losing games, there's probably not as many jokes on a team that's in the 10th spot or the 11th spot. But we obviously get our work done, but when there's time to cut up and to have fun, Frank's the first one to be in there.
What are you working on specifically? I mean, obviously the generic answer, I just want to get better, but what are you working on specifically for this team to try to get better for this year? Or maybe it's just in the gym, we need more Hulk Caruso picks that are going to get you PED tested again.
This is the first year of my life where I've actually gained a little bit of weight during season. You know, I've gained 4 pounds of muscle during the season, I think, from the beginning.
Yeah, man, slow down, Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the pictures might be real here in a little bit.
Well, you do have the sinewy poppy muscle vein thing going.
Yeah,
so
that's true. I just don't have any body fat. That's the thing. Like, I just have good genetics to where I've literally always been below a 6 or 7% body fat. I don't know.
It's hard to argue that. So I did learn that it's not healthy actually to be below like 3 or 4%.
Yeah, you need some.
You have to have like a tiny bit. Right. But if you're anywhere between like 5 and 7, yeah, that's basically that's ideal. That's like an elite pro athlete type.
Did you say between 50 and 70%?
No, you're going to be be if you're 50 and 70.
5 and 7. Okay, got it.
First of all, I see you in the you in the gym a lot lately. Yeah. Give yourself some credit. But I want to let's nerd out a little bit on this topic on working out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you mentioned the genetics. Your father was a basketball player. Your mother athletic. That side of the family is athletic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the vertical, all that. But how much actual weight room work have you been putting in? When did it start? How much more did you lift than other people? How has this whole thing grown to get you to the point where you've built the strength that you have?
Yeah, I think the biggest part about it has been not even the work of actual lifting weights or working out. It's the nutrition part. Because I mean, I've always been a guy who you didn't have to tell, like, you doing 3 sets of 8 reps, I'm going to get every single one, right? Like, I'm not going to shortcut. I'm not going to do 7 on the second and third because I'm tired. I've always been the guy that's done everything the right way, and partially why I've gotten to the point that I'm at now and in the place in my career.
Listen up, kids.
But just in college, I didn't have the understanding, or at least I didn't believe the understanding of how important nutrition was. And I'm already a guy who, I'm a heavy sweater. I burn calories fast. Like, just naturally, my metabolism is up there. So I would burn so many calories through a 2-hour practice in college, and then I'm walking around campus all day and I'm lifting. So if you don't replenish what you did, you're not building anything. You're basically just tearing it down. And I think I've finally gotten to the point in my professional career where I understand that, and I know how to maintain that, and like the process of going through eating, getting a shake, get another meal, hydration, and all that's just finally catching up with the work.
Actually, I think a lot of fans and people that work out some and play whatever don't actually understand. Are you lifting on game days? Because we see JaVale.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about JaVale earlier,
for sure.
And JaVale is always getting work in before games. I've seen in the hotel like Braun and a bunch of guys getting work in, getting a lift in even before the game at the hotel in the morning. But a lot of people, coming up in high school, I can't lift on the day of the game. I can't do biceps, and it'll mess with my shots. So, are you lifting during game days?
Yeah, I lift at Staples or at the arena before the game every day, or every game day, and then I'm usually lifting. I'll probably lift 5 or 6 times a week, and it's not like we're not going crazy, right? Like, we're not throwing like 300 some pounds up and doing like 10 reps, 4 sets of squat or deadlift or something like that. But it's Gunnar and Chatton and Ed, our 3 strength guys, do a phenomenal job of maintaining as well as continuing to build. And obviously, I trust them with all that knowledge because they're the experts and they do that. But I think the first couple of months, I was probably second or third in lifts of the month behind Jared and JaVale. And obviously, you've seen every single one of JaVale's lifts.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah,
you don't miss.
Right, he's my inspiration.
They're on the gram.
JaVale's the ultimate content guy, man. Whoever, I don't know if he does it personally, but his team is phenomenal with that stuff.
Yeah, he's got a guy.
He's got a guy who does it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, it's continuous work. And I used to be one of the guys who believed, I was like, all right, I can't, because I've always been a little thin, right? A little skinny. And if I get a good lift in, I'm going to feel it when I go out and shoot a little bit. But I've come to realize that doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, it's muscle memory. And I almost shoot a little better if I lift before I go and shoot. It's crazy.
That used to be back in the 80s, Michael Thompson always tells us about this. Like, they used to tell them that they can't lift because they thought it was going to impact their jump shots. And but Michael lifted
They shot
it.
from 12 feet anyway back in
Well,
the day.
well, that's part of it. Or the guys that
dunked
shot
it,
from deep just didn't get credit for it.
Yeah,
He
true.
was counted for 2 points. But then I think Michael Jordan was the first one, and of course all of us were paying attention to everything that he did. And when
Rightfully
you
so.
saw him in the gym, right, then it was like, oh, okay, so he lifts on game days, then everybody should lift on game
It's
days.
time to lift on
Kobe,
game days.
LeBron,
Yeah, right.
on in here. Let me get back to the nutrition element, though. You gave the kids a nice message with the don't cheat yourself even a single rep or a single set, which is a
It's
good
truth.
point. And you can apply that to anything in life, which is one of the reasons why we love sports. It's such a
Absolutely.
good metaphor for life. But how about how hardcore are you about the nutritional element? And maybe you could take us through a day
Yeah.
and just tell us some of the things that you abstain from, that because you probably have the taste buds like many of us where you want something, but
No more Whataburger?
so how does this
It's a good thing Whataburger's not out
Yeah.
here, man. That would be dangerous.
Go back home, yeah.
give us
No, I do
yeah.
a good job, and obviously I have a lot of resources around me, right? Like we have food every day, before and after practice. On a game day, I really don't buy food at all. I'll eat breakfast at the gym before shoot around.
What do you eat for breakfast typically?
I'll have a couple eggs scrambled with diced ham and cheese and some fruit, and throw in like a starch in there, like a tater tots or hash browns, something. And that goes back to the nutrition thing. I understand what I need to have before I work out to be able to fuel myself to go. And then post shoot around, I'll get food here. I'll have a plate here, and then I'll take a pasta to go, or I'll take a box of food home. Take my nap, wake up, eat that, go to the gym, do a little workout, eat before the game, and then we have boxed food after the game. So like literally on game days at home, I will have like 4 or 5 meals, and I don't even have to worry about where it's going to come from. Is it going to be good for me? Do I have to worry about getting a vegetable, getting a starch? Like they have everything set.
What's the best? I guess this is kind of like a conceptual thing, but what's the best or your favorite part just about being in LA, coming to LA, being a Laker in LA? What's your favorite? Or you can just favorite things to do in the city.
Honestly, I don't do a lot in the
but
city. I don't move around much because I live down in the South Bay. It's quiet. That's kind of more my speed, more my personality.
Yeah, it's the spot.
shorts
it's the
and
spot.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
I think the best thing about LA, I think it's probably two things. One, it's beautiful all the time, right? Like I've worn shorts and sandals 50% of the time during winter or winter calendar, whenever the season of winter. We don't really have a winter, so
Right.
That's probably one part of it. And then just the hype that comes with playing with Los Angeles and being a Laker, that part of it's been phenomenal, and it's opened a bunch of doors for me and helping meet a bunch of people that I probably wouldn't have if I was playing in another city.
Big picture with this team, it's not hard to understand. We've all seen it and talked about it all season, but this team wants to win a championship. You have the talent to do so. What do you think are the areas that you guys have to shore up just a little bit before you make that playoff run that's going to start in, not much more than a month?
Yeah, like you said, the key word's little, right? I think it's the little things for us. I think it's as small as just getting a shot every time down the court, right? Not turning the ball over. And I think that comes with the monotony of 82 game season, right? Like during the beginning of the season, even the first half of the season, we were great with it. We were coming out, locking teams up defensively. And then obviously just human nature, you kind of get into a rhythm and you kind of forget what got you there and the process of doing that. But I think it's just about being in our best shape defensively. And I think for us that involves pressuring guards, taking away the best players, and then rebounding. Once we rebound and we can get out, if we're not the first best fast breaking team in the league, we're probably one of the top couple.
Second last I looked.
Yeah. So that's where we thrive, is getting out in transition, just because we have so many playmakers, right? Like we got guys that can shoot, we got guys that can finish, and you got two of the best passers in the game on your team. It makes it easy. So I think for us, it's just those two things. I think if we take care of the ball and then play defense and rebound, it's, it sounds really easy, right? That sounds like a simple thing, but I think just limiting the times where we don't get those things done is the key.
All right. Last thing for you. Alex Caruso, unless you have something you need to get off your chest. I think you've said enough. Little lightning round. Aaron and I are just going to throw out sort of random things and to see what your favorites are.
Right.
Some of these might be old school things. Some of them just might be current, but just so we can get a couple of AC fresh takes out there. Okay. Favorite current TV show?
Don't watch a bunch of TV, so I will say The Office.
That is not current, but it is great.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you the last time I watched a TV
Steve Carell was
show.
at the game the other day.
Yeah,
He was.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you the last time I watched a TV show on TV.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you binging on the planet?
He's a millennial.
Got a lot of downtime.
That's the thing. I don't watch TV
not
shows
at all. I thought you meant like you don't watch.
I'm notorious for not finishing TV shows. If I told you the list of TV shows I haven't finished, people would be up in flames. I mean,
The Wire,
Mad Men,
Breaking Bad,
Sopranos,
Better Call Saul,
West Wing.
There's a ton.
Hold on, there's one that you must being from Texas have finished Friday Night Lights.
Never watched a single show.
Oh, I mean, come on.
Huh.
Never watched a single episode.
You're too busy.
I've seen the movie.
Too busy lifting, eating
right.
right,
I've never seen it either.
playing basketball.
I've seen the movie. I've never seen it.
Building yourself the future. Okay, Aaron.
All right, so what's
successful future?
when you were driving in this morning to get treatment and come talk to us? What's on the playlist? What are you going to first?
So recently, I've been on kind of a slower, like more chill vibe. Obviously, there's a big influence with sports and hip hop, and I love hip hop and rap. That's probably up there with like EDM and house for me. Those are my two favorites. But I actually was listening to a new album from this group called Surfaces that I met through an old college teammate. That's kind of like indie pop, just like feel good music. It's very very LA. Very LA, just good vibes, like happy
very shorts and flip flops.
Yeah, windows down,
Nice.
70-degree weather.
Shouts to them. Have you had a chance?
Surfs, yeah.
Have you had a chance to listen to the new Justin Bieber album and one particular track?
My man, no, it's not one particular track. It was the. Oh wait, one particular track in what way?
Well, JaVale
McGee. JaVale produced, got a producer credit on one song.
Yeah.
On a song.
No, it was more than the song.
I thought it was just one track that he produced.
We're gonna fact check this.
You need a fact check because I think fact check. I thought he helped co-write one song, and then he helped produce like the whole kind of album.
Well, we're gonna need to do a deep dive on this. The song that
I giving JaVale too much credit.
I think the song
JaVale, until they say anything else, you
I
help
think
the
the
whole
song
album,
is
JaVale telling you stories. I don't know.
Available, I think, is the track that at least that's what I had looked up. And now we need to do a deep dive with him.
I think Noah's getting on this.
Available is the track that I heard about. I don't want to sell him short though, especially
no,
since he's your stylist.
That might have been my bad. I don't know.
Nonetheless, he's on. He helped produce.
Nonetheless, JaVale is a very talented individual, and I'm pretty sure he's always had this musical interest, musical ability that he does to produce music.
Renaissance man.
Yeah,
style, music.
People, there's people don't understand. That's one of the. Not to get away from the question, but
please.
No, please.
This year it's really helped me realize that like there is life after basketball, right? Like we have so many older guys on the team, and I see so many different things that they're involved in. Obviously, Brian has his foundation. A bunch of guys have different foundations on the team. Danny Green has his thing with Spectrum, his podcast video series. There's just so many different things, right? JaVale has this whole music deal that, there is actually life after basketball, and all these guys are really good at playing a sport, but they have passion. They have a passion outside of just playing basketball.
Quick follow-up on that one. Do you see yourself as kind of a basketball lifer in some sense, either a coach or general manager type, like going into that realm, staying within a team context, or do you think something else, something outside of basketball?
I really don't know, and that's the beautiful thing about it is that I got time. I got time to figure it out. I know.
Yeah, you got at least like 15 more years to play, right?
Yeah, I know. I know whatever I'm going to end up doing, it's going to be something I'm passionate about, and I'm passionate about basketball, so that's probably a window that's definitely open. Hopefully I have another decade of life in my legs, and I'm playing the game for a while, so I don't have to worry about that. But, I haven't really given it a thought. This is like the age-old question. It's like when you're in college, it's like, oh, what's your major? It's like, da-da-da-da. It's like, well, what do you want to do after? It's like, well, I'm not really sure yet. Like, I'm going to find something I'm passionate about. It's like, I kind of always said that, and then I just ended up playing basketball. So who knows? I might end up I might end up trying to chase Bill Burka and go to Lum 90.
Oh, yeah. The GOAT himself.
Yeah.
Speaking of goats.
Shout out to Bill.
Bill Burka.
Goat and goat. So have you ever had anything other than basketball that you were passionate about? You said you're like on the search for it, and what are you going to do next? But has it always been basketball, or other than, music, hip hop, not necessarily producing? But
basketball's always been my first love, as far as just like, you give me an option. I have 3 hours in the afternoon. Like, what do you want to do as a kid? I was like, all right, let's go to the park. Like, let's try and find 5 other guys, play 3-on-3, play 4-on-4. That was always what I did as a kid, is just try and find a park and some people to play with, whether they were older than me, younger than me, my age, my friends.
Do they try to Billy Hoyle you with all the memes now? Back in those days, you were,
because a lot of the guys looked like me when we were out there. They just didn't really play like me. So, but
you weren't getting picked last.
No. I was usually the best player on the court. Yeah. But as far as passions outside of basketball, I'm not really sure. I love helping people. I'm going to eventually start some type of foundation or charity, just because with this platform and with the resources that I have, I feel like it's almost like my duty to do that, like to give back to people and give back to people that I grew up around in my community and maybe even out here in LA. But I'm not really sure. I like so many different things as a kid. Like I'm always really curious. I like doing weird stuff. Like I love like going playing ping pong, going play go-karts, like paintball. Like I've always been interested in like all different types of stuff, like playing FIFA. I just have weird interests. And I think that's a good thing, that I have a wide variety of things that I'm interested in, because I think it'll give me a good.
Now, see, you just brought it up. I was going to leave it alone, but now you just brought it up.
Last topic.
Do you want to? Do you want to talk about? So the three of us that are sitting here have.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, I do.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about your Champions League prospects for the next couple years?
The Houston
Astros. What happened?
Houston Astros, the English Premier League over there.
We're cheating out here, spending a little money on the side. What are we doing?
That's quite the same thing. That's a bold.
What are you talking about? You're both cheaters.
You got popped for, did you or did you not get popped for cheating?
There's a difference between financial fair play allegations and what the Astros did. The Astros were literally cheating in the game.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah, City only cheated by not disclosing.
I don't even know what the equivalent of in-game cheating for soccer would be. But it's going through the appeal process. We're gonna be fine. We're gonna win Champions League this year.
Okay.
Unlikely.
Okay.
We'll see.
All right.
Well, we've played our best football in the Champions League, so I think
for clarification,
the table's done. My boys already have that.
Aaron, that's over. We're not worried about that.
Aaron is a Liverpool fan.
Oh, thank goodness Watford came through the other day.
I don't know.
I did not
3-0 defeat. No,
I was like, man, City just made all these records. We had this great season. It's going to be 2 years, and we're going to have them gone.
Alex is a Manchester City fan. I am a Manchester United fan. Larsul is a Liverpool fan, and it's been a dark couple of years for me after years of dominance.
Couple is
but
right.
That's
underselling it a little bit.
Yeah, but we still have the best worldwide brand, the best fans. We just need to get a director of football and get a few more veteran actual players available. Bruno Fernandes.
That's all. Yeah, that's all you need. A guy making decisions and guys that can play. That's all you need.
It's fine. We still have the legacy.
Basics.
They're kind of like they're the Lakers of the English Premier League. Manchester United. So if you're looking for a team to follow and you want to be like the Lakers,
I don't like
United.
that.
Not current. I'm saying historically.
I don't like that comparison. Just okay. And
historically,
we'll be okay.
And then once City got the Middle East money,
I would like to
that
call them the Celtics. To be honest.
Oh, how dare you?
Because
you know what? I'll ride with that.
We won like 6 years ago. It wasn't anyway. All right. Now we're gonna have to go into a deep tangent on this one.
That's another conversation.
Let's end on a positive note. Say thank you to Alex for joining us. Is there anything else that we didn't get out, Alex, that you would like to share with us?
I don't know. We covered a lot.
Yeah.
How do people find you? How do they get some? Get some gear.
I know where to find them.
Yeah, find me on Twitter, Instagram. I think those are the only two things I have. Yeah, Twitter and Instagram, basketball court. AC Fresh 21. Shout out.
And how about to get some gear? Where do they go?
Gear. There's links in my bio on Twitter and on Instagram. Represent.com/Caruso or Caruso. Sorry, I think that's the official.
And you got links on Twitter and IG.
TM.
Did you get my Medium? ordered yet?
Yeah, we got them in the works.
All right. We talked about that after the game the other day.
That's
All
right.
right, Alex, thanks so much for taking the time, man. I know it's not easy, especially when you're just trying to find time to relax after a long trip. People really appreciate hearing from you. And folks, that has been the GOAT, Alex Caruso.